Are you ready to take your striking game to the next level? Then you've got to get the focus ball. Dramatically improve footwork, timing, reflex, hand-eye coordination, head movement, and striking IQ. Lightweight and extremely portable, so you can train every time, everywhere with the focus ball.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hi, it's Minnie. You're watching Deontay Boxing Nation.
Deontay's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So a little bit of bad news for Tyson Fury. The WBC says something that Tyson did not want to hear, because the WBC finally comes out and says Deontay Wilder deserves a third shot against Tyson Fury. Now, when I first heard this news a couple of days ago, I wasn't going to make a video about it because to me, it wasn't that big of a deal. It didn't surprise me that Mauricio said this, but I had a lot of people sending me messages asking me, are you going to do a video on this? Are you going to do a video? So I said, let me go ahead and give my take. Now, before I go ahead and give my take, let me quote exactly what the WBC president said. Quote, Wilder has the greatest knockout ratio. The percentage is unbelievable, and he is a very dear fighter, a champion in the WBC, and he deserves, of course, another opportunity. He gave Tyson Fury the opportunity, and Tyson Fury beat him, knocked him out, and of course, Wilder is in the mix. He deserves an opportunity, and we will see how things evolve in the coming year. End quote. Now, and I've seen some articles on this story where the writer is saying that the WBC president sides with Deontay Wilder, thinks he deserves a third fight. I wouldn't go so far as to say that the WBC is siding with Deontay Wilder. I don't even believe this is his effort to support Deontay Wilder. I truly believe that Mauricio Solomon, he doesn't believe the glove scandal. He doesn't believe it at all. He probably doesn't think Tyson Fury cheated at all. Therefore, he's thinking, let him get the third fight. He really has no chance. And if Tyson Fury beats Deontay Wilder a third time, this will silence all the critics when it comes to the whole cheating scandal. And Suleiman would definitely be right if that were to happen. You guys hear me, I say it all the time. Both fighters stand to lose a lot when it comes to a third fight, Wilder and Fury. If Deontay Wilder loses that fight, then yeah, people will overlook the fact that Tyson Fury cheated in the first two fights. If Tyson Fury loses that fight, then it will look like he was only able to beat Deontay Wilder when he was cheating. So not only will his reputation be tarnished, but he also will lose the huge payday against Anthony Joshua for a huge first time in history, all UK affair when it comes to unifying all of the heavyweight belts. So the fact that Wilder knows he has everything to lose, Tyson Fury knows he has everything to lose, and there's only one out of the two that actually wants to fight, and it's Deontay Wilder, that says a lot about both fighters' confidence going into a third fight. This is really ironic when you think about it, because this situation is so analogous to when both fighters were going into the second fight against each other. What did they say in the first fight? The first fight, they said Tyson Fury, he won, he was robbed, he's a much better fighter. They were pretty much saying the same things that they're saying now. Deontay Wilder doesn't know how to fight, yada yada. But who was the one that was pushing for the rematch? You would think that it would be Tyson Fury. If he beat him, that's usually the guy who wants the rematch. The guy who feels that he got robbed is always the one asking for the rematch. The guy that is happy with the decision is usually the one trying to avoid the rematch. Case in point, Pernell Whitaker versus Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. The fight was clearly won by Pernell Whitaker, but they ruled it a majority draw. Who do you think wanted the rematch? And who you think didn't want the rematch? That's right. Pernell pushed for the rematch, Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. rejected it. He moved on. Oscar De La Hoya versus Ike Corte. A lot of people thought Ike Corte won that fight. Who do you think wanted the rematch? Who do you think didn't want it? This is the only time in history I can recall a fighter having fans that are saying how he destroyed this guy and how Deontay Wilder has no chance. Not only does Tyson Fury not want the third fight that he's obligated to take because of the rematch clause, but now even his fans have made a shift to where they don't even want it. And we know why they don't want it, because they're thinking the same thing. Don't believe the stuff that they type. Oh, they'll type all kind of stuff in the comment section, but the only thing they say that is the truth is they don't want to see this third fight. That's what they're saying now. It's funny, man, because it was only a couple of months ago, these same people were in my comment section all saying, man, I can't wait for the third fight. I can't wait until Tyson, he shuts up all these critics, etc., etc. What are you guys going to say when Tyson beats him a third time? I'm not seeing any of those comments anymore. Matter of fact, some people that were saying that now, that were saying that before, they're now saying exactly what I'm telling you. They're saying, man, no one wants to see that fight. I don't want to see that fight. And the reason why they're saying that, because they're seeing more and more evidence come out proving that Tyson Fury cheated, because new media, we're making so much sense when it comes to cracking this case that deep down, all of these fans, they're feeling the pressure. They're not, once again, they're not going to say it in the comment section, so don't expect that. But they're saying in their heart, Deontay is making way too much sense. What if Tyson Fury did cheat and he has to go in there a third time and he's not able to cheat? And that's when they start saying, no, forget that. It's better for him not to fight him, because we can't take that risk. We can't take that risk of Tyson Fury not being able to guarantee a win. Because if it was a foregone conclusion that Tyson Fury would beat Deontay Wilder, hands down, they would all be for it. Because that's how confident they were before we started to present so much evidence that proves that this man cheated. That's why, that's the only way you could explain why Tyson Fury would not want the third fight. Remember, we're not talking about fighting Deontay Wilder for crumbs. Tyson Fury is going to make more money against Deontay Wilder in a third fight than he would make fighting 5 Otto Wallins and Kaya Ball, or whatever his name is. A lot of fans will always try to defend a fighter by saying it's about the money. It's about the money. But apparently it's not about money for Tyson Fury. Listen, for the sake of my point, I'm just going to throw some numbers out there. Let's just say Tyson Fury, he can make $20 million to fight Deontay Wilder in the third fight. And then let's say he's guaranteed $40 million to fight Anthony Joshua if he beats Deontay Wilder. What sounds better? $40 million or $60 million? Because that's what you would stand to make if you would fight them both. Why would you turn down $20 million and go fight some no-name guy from Germany and fight him for like $1 or $2 million or whatever? So when you could have made a total of $60 million in 2 fights, now you're only going to make $41 million for 2 fights? It's not adding up, guys. We know what time it is. You guys are going to continue to see this pattern from Tyson Fury fans. They are going to push for Tyson Fury to avoid Deontay Wilder in fear that Wilder has too much of a chance of pulling off the upset. Speaking of upset, if they do fight, I can't wait to see what the odds will be. Because once again, you let the fans tell it, Deontay Wilder should be one of the biggest underdogs in heavyweight history. When you hear all these fans talk about how he doesn't know how to fight, he doesn't know how to do this, etc., etc. Which brings me to another rhetorical question. Why would Tyson Fury want to avoid someone who lacks skills, someone who is nowhere near on his level? Why would he want to turn down one of his biggest paydays against someone he knows is nowhere on his level? We already know the answer to that question because Tyson Fury, even Tyson himself, disagrees with the fans that are trying to defend him. Tyson already came out and said that to this day, Deontay Wilder is still more dangerous than Anthony Joshua. So he's telling you, I'm not fighting, or I don't want to fight Deontay Wilder because he's too damn dangerous. This is what Tyson Fury is saying out of his own mouth. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this video up, and I'm gonna say to you Tyson Fury fans, for everyone who loves filling up the comment section, talking about things that really have nothing to do with what's going on, like, oh, you know, Wilder is garbage, he doesn't know how to fight, move on, etc., etc. There's no way Tyson Fury could have cheated. Why don't you just explain to us in the comment section why Tyson Fury's right glove looks like that? I think I told you on my last video, or one of the last videos about this situation, you know, out of probably the last like 5 or 6 videos I did about this, I would randomly just ask people in the comment section that were talking ridiculous, why does Tyson Fury's right glove look like that in the second fight? I probably asked a total of 15 people and not one single person responded to me. And then more recently, I asked the same question in one of the videos that I did. I said, I want everyone to answer the question in the comment section, why does Tyson Fury's right glove look like this? And probably out of, you know, hundreds of comments, only 2 people tried to answer the question. One of the guys said, oh, it's because his gloves are made of horsehair. So the next question would be, well, if it's because of horsehair, how come Tyson Fury's left glove didn't look like the right glove? What are you telling me? You're telling me the left glove is not horsehair and the right glove is horsehair? You see how difficult it is? Because there's really only one answer that's going to make sense, and that's the truth. You can have a million lies, but there is only one truth. And furthermore, when it comes to the horsehair excuse, you can also ask the question, then we should be seeing people with gloves that look like this on a normal, because a lot of people wear gloves with horsehair. A lot of fighters today wear Reyes gloves. And these are the challenges that Tyson Fury is going to have when he is sitting in a courtroom. Him and his lawyer and his team are sitting in a courtroom trying to explain why his right glove looks like that in the second fight, why his left glove looks like that in the first fight. Once again, all of these answers of let's move on and that's photoshopped and Deontay Wilder just doesn't know how to fight, none of those answers are going to help Tyson Fury in court. And speaking of some of these fans that say, hey, let's just leave it alone, how about we just move on? How are you going to say move on, but then say you don't want to see the third fight? That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to move on. We're trying to move on to the rematch clause that Tyson Fury agreed upon, which is fight Deontay Wilder a third time. We can't move on if Tyson Fury doesn't do what he's supposed to do, right? See, another reason why a lot of fans are saying they don't want to see this fight, because they're anticipating there's a very good chance that Tyson Fury will just vacate the WBC belt. So what's happening right now is a lot of fans are trying to tell Tyson, look, you don't need that belt. You don't need the belt. Just take the Anthony Joshua fight. They're trying to convince him, don't worry, you won't be a coward. You're not going to look like a coward if you vacate your belt to avoid Deontay Wilder. You don't need to fight him again. They're hoping that this wears on Tyson Fury and he walks away guilt-free. Walks away feeling like, yeah, that's right. I'm not a coward. I can give up my title and give it back to Deontay Wilder. Listen, let me tell you right now, it don't matter how many Tyson Fury supporters say that. If Tyson Fury gives up his championship belt, surrenders it, gives it back to Deontay Wilder to avoid a third fight that he was obligated to take, that's going to be one of the worst moves in boxing history. And Tyson will lose all credibility. Because you cannot name me one fighter in the history of the sport that was obligated to take a rematch clause and decided to vacate the belt to avoid that fighter. Now you gotta understand, obviously it's different if both fighters agreed on not fighting each other, even though they have a rematch clause. But this is not the case. Wilder is pushing for it. So this is gonna make Tyson Fury look really bad. No matter how many fans support it, it's gonna make him look really bad. Let's see what Tyson decides to do. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one. You know, I always say on this channel, pay-per-view fights should actually be free. And now the day has come where I'm about to hook you up with an app where you can watch all your pay-per-view events, boxing, UFC, etc. for free. I want to introduce Block TV, the best internet streaming television app out there. They provide over 3,600 channels including HBO, Cinemax, Showtime, and Stars. They have a massive video on demand library with over 40,000 of the new release movies and the latest TV series. And it also includes DVR, so you're getting all of this for $34.99 a month, and once again, that includes free pay-per-view. So this one right here is a no-brainer, guys, because back in Las Vegas, I was paying damn near $200 a month for my cable. Those days are long gone now. So to get the app, make sure you guys go over to getblocktv.com and put in my promo code and get 30% off your first month. You also get a free month for every friend you refer. The promo code is DBNation. This is the future right here, I'm telling you guys. If you've lost your hair or you have a receding hairline, this is how you get it back permanently. So if you want to get this hookup for my brothers out there in the UK and Europe, make sure you check out the Scalp This on Instagram. And for my brothers out there in the States, make sure you go ahead and contact my man Scalp Carolinas on Instagram. And when you go on their pages, you can see for yourself what these guys look like before. I mean, these guys are literally hair magicians. I've never seen anything like this before, but all I can tell you guys is this is a serious game changer for us men.